on the zucchinis.
I think it's a food safety issue too. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, good morning, everyone. We got a great show lined up for you.
We certainly do. We certainly do.
I'm Michael. I'm going to have Xavier today on me with the show.
Just like last time.
Just like last time. And probably maybe even the time before. I mean,
That's right.
it's becoming too much. You and me.
Michael and Xavier show.
Exactly. You know, we got to get some of the other guys on the show. But we're going to have a great show today for you. We're going to be joined soon by Kendall King from September Sun Produce and from Russ. And we'll have Russ and Hank from CVille Soundcheck on today. So we got a full house, Pops.
Oh, yeah. No, absolutely. And, you know, I mean, we were just talking just a few minutes ago with Kendall, and we're going to have so many questions for her. She's not going to be able to talk about her farm.
Exactly. I know.
This guy's asking me all these questions about how to grow this, how to grow that.
Yeah, Kendall runs her own produce farm, and Xavier has his own little garden that we try to keep people updated on the show. Has it been going so far?
I've had better years.
He's had better years, yeah. This is not a port vintage wine year.
No,
for
definitely not.
Produce.
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely, yeah. I haven't had one of those in a long time.
Well, I thought 2 years ago you did pretty good.
Yeah. Well, it depends. Some years, some things just do really, really well, and then other years, it's like last year we had peppers, so many peppers that in the end it's like, you know, even Jan was saying like, what am I doing?
Well, that was also a mistake because did you plant too many jalapeno peppers? We had too many.
No,
jalapenos?
just two. But they really bloomed and gave us a lot. Which, you know, listen, Mom loves jalapenos, so that wasn't a problem. But
but jalapenos have a limited usage. I mean, it's like
all you need is one because really you get enough. You know, unless you're pickling them or something of that sort. Yeah. So. But listen, you know, it's
what's going pretty well in your garden is the melons and the cantaloupe.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah,
you know, I mean, you go in there and it
feels
feels
like a jungle. But we were talking about squash bugs.
Yeah.
I mean, they're in there also, so it's already starting to kind of die back. And that's the issue. You sit there, you go, okay, so I got 3 or 4 melons, and then that's it because they start to die on you, and you say, I had a whole, raised bed for 4 cantaloupe. Is that really worth it or not, right? I have to think about these things in the future.
Well, they're good. That's the question. If they're good, then maybe it's worth it.
Maybe, yeah. But I can plant some other stuff that will last longer.
You could have gone 4 tomatoes,
Hopefully more.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Today Mañana. I'm Michael, happy to be joined by Xavier. We've had a couple of cool weeks, which we were just kind of talking about. Maybe not great for the produce, but everyone else in Charlotte has been relieved. I guess we had like 3 weeks of just, it felt like it was like 95 and above every day.
That was brutal, but,
yeah,
especially you that you enjoy swimming in the morning.
Well, I enjoy swimming, so it doesn't bother me as much. Now, to be fair, over the weekend, I enjoyed the little reprieve, but basically by Monday, I was like, I'm ready for the hot weather again, and it's kind of like still cool.
Well, the difference also is that it hasn't even been sunny. It's just been kind of cloudy and cool. Cool. Cool at night. Cool relative.
Cool during the day, too. I mean, 78, 80 is not exactly what I call August weather, know? And I know a lot of people are like, oh, I love this, but I'm like, you'll get this in September and October.
And in September, it'll be a little drier. Although today was kind of, when I walked out to the garden. It hasn't been
too humid. It's been pretty dry. I've been noticed. I mean, like I said yesterday, I watered your garden. It was pretty dry, so... I'm kind of ready for a little the heat to come back, which supposedly it will be.
It will. It's too early for the heat to give up.
Yeah, exactly. You get summer once a year. Why do I have to have full weather?
And it flies.
Exactly.
We've always noticed it just before you know you blink, it's like summer's over. How is that possible?
I know. And then the closer you get to the cold weather, the worse it gets for me. I'm not a cold weather guy. Just for me the heat.
Me too.
I know. But as always, we are happy to be presented by Emergent Financial Services, sponsored by Matisse Young Realty, Charlottesville Opera, and FABA, the premier Latino network and business group here in Virginia. We got a great show lined up today. We're going to be joined shortly with Kendall King from September Sun Produce. And then after Kendall, we're going to have Hank and Russ from CVille Soundcheck. So we got an exciting show. So we're
absolutely. I was going to say, by the way, we're going to have to ask Ken. That's a great name, September Sun Products. So I know we always, since we're in the financial business, this is going to take only about 2 or 3 minutes, right? people always ask us, where's the market going? Where is this going? What's happening, right? And literally today, when I turned on my Bloomberg system to kind of check up on news and things like that, there was this quote, right? And it said, prediction is very difficult, especially if it's about the future, right? And I said, this is perfect for us because, everybody always says, so what do you think is happening? Is the Fed going to raise rates? Is this, and predicting what's going to happen, right, in the financial markets.
Who said that
So
quote?
this is Niels Henrik David Bohr.
No way, because remember last time in the show,
It's slightly different
than the Yogi Berra one.
Yeah, that was a little different, but yeah. So he probably said something similar.
So you mean Yogi stole
wasn't
it from the guy?
Well,
Or this guy
we
stole
got to
from
see
Yogi.
who stole from whom. Maybe he stole from Yogi. I don't know.
I know.
I can't imagine Yogi ever reading Niels Henrik David Bohr of anything, right? I mean, but who knows? Maybe he was. But yeah, it's. Yeah, I remember you said that. That's why when I read this, I remembered that you mentioned that last time. But it is so true, right? It's like people always ask, "What's happening? What do you think is going to happen?" It's like it's so difficult, right? I mean, you have opinions and thoughts based on the data you see, but really forecasting anything, rates, markets, economy, anything, it's just so difficult.
Yeah.
It's a no-win game to a certain respect.
It is. It's kind of like that in life sometimes. It's hard to predict what's going to come next,
Yeah.
But on the Today Mañana, it's not going to be too hard.
No, because we know
who exactly the next guest is going to be.
Exactly, absolutely.
We're going to be joined by her right now.
100% correct on that
Exactly. So welcome. Thank you, Kendall King from September Sun Produce for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
No, it's our pleasure, Kendall. So kind of before we get started, just tell us a little bit about yourself and kind of how you started September Sun Produce.
Yeah, and tell us how you got that name, September Sun.
Yeah.
I really like that.
Sure.
And it's really a great name.
Thank you. Yes. So I was born and raised all over the East Coast, but came back to Virginia for school for the university here.
Okay.
And I started to work for a large CSA down in Scottsville called Bel Air Farm. And I was really moved and inspired by just the work and how much food you could grow with a big team, and it was so awesome that I just decided that's what I wanted to spend my life doing. So when I got an opportunity to convince my folks to move here, I just told them to look for somewhere with a little bit of land for me. And we did find it, and it is a little bit of land, especially compared to somewhere like Bel Air. So we grow on 1.5 acres in Somerset, which is up in Orange.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's my husband and I, and we have one employee who's almost full-time. And my husband and I are both born in September. September is a lovely month, as you all were just discussing. It gets dry, and the sky is blue and perfect. You start to get some relief from the summer weather. So, yeah, we got married in September. It's just
Wow,
it's
okay.
an important month for us. Yeah, and the sun feels so clean and clear and gentle.
Yeah.
So I just
And it's really,
decided.
to a certain respect, it's somewhat harvest, but it's also, I mean, I assume you plant spring, summer, and fall kind of vegetables?
Yeah, yes,
Okay.
yes. So we're as much year-round as we can. We try to grow because we've got some covered structures. We try to grow into what we call sort of season extension time.
Okay.
So early spring and late fall/early winter, we try to have some greens and things. But yeah, we're all seasons, and we have a CSA, so Community Supported Agriculture. We
Okay.
do a weekly farm share for 75 people in Charlottesville, also in Orange, up north from here, and Gordonsville. And yeah, our main season is April through October, typically.
Okay.
And so what exactly is the share?
It's around 7 items each week,
Okay.
and it's just what's seasonal and awesome. In Charlottesville, we set up at Lampo Pizza outside on Monticello Road, and we just basically lay out everything we have available, and share members come up and they pick what they'd like for that week.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's pretty great. We're very flexible. People pay either in advance at the beginning of the season, or they do it monthly or weekly, depending on what's best for them. And we have it also organized in a sliding scale price-wise. So based on a whole bunch of financial circumstances for customers, people decide where they land on the sliding scale.
Okay.
And that's what they pay per week.
And when they go there, I mean, is there somebody kind of watching that they didn't, they just don't go and take everything? I mean, I'm just worried. I mean,
Always suspicious.
No, well, because I mean, that's let's,
We
let's,
aren't
you know,
helicopter moms about our produce. No,
Some
no.
people are just honest and say, okay,
Yeah,
I'm only
we
paying
have- yeah.
$10 a week, so I only get 3 things or 4 things and so on.
No.
it doesn't work.
Everybody, it's supposed to be a relationship of support, essentially for the farm. So, community-supported agriculture. The idea is that somebody is saying, we're with you no matter what. If the harvest is good, if the harvest is bad, and so we're the same way with our customers. It's are you having a rough week and maybe it makes sense for you to skip this week and next week you want to double up? That's probably fine with us. Doesn't really matter. And likewise, we typically are encouraging our share members to take more because we have so much. And when we have a lot of abundance, we want to make sure that that's shared with the people who have invested in us and supported us.
That's wonderful. That's
It is,
wonderful. So
yeah.
tell us a little bit about like some of the things that you grow
Sure.
and throughout the seasons. I'm just curious.
Yeah. Spring starts off and there's so many greens that a lot of people get very sick of them. So, there's your typical bunched and also bagged like arugula, kale, mustard. There's different mixes of different kinds of greens from different places across the world, like a mix that's got tatsoi, which is sort of similar to spinach, and some mustards and such. And we've got Swiss chard and lettuce and cabbage. It can be a little overwhelming, and I think people really crave what we have now, which is like tomatoes, potatoes, zucchini, squash.
Potatoes too, okay.
Yeah, we actually, so because we're on such limited land, we often partner with neighbors of ours who have more space that we can grow on their land. And so our potatoes we grow in partnership with one of our neighbors. His name is Ray. And it's a great arrangement for like another layer of community involved in our business. And it's one way that we are able to grow enough for 75 CSA members. But let's see, right now we've also got eggplant, cucumbers. We'll have more cabbage soon. We have lots of beets and carrots and green beans. It's just most things that you would think of as being seasonal produce we try to have. Okay.
And so you mentioned that, I guess, there's an acre of land that you grow on. Is that correct?
Yes.
So do you have the space whereby there's an area where it's for spring vegetables and then you start planting for summer, and then is the area for spring vegetables where you plant your fall stuff, or how do you work that out?
Sure, yeah. So it's not that direct, but each bed we have a plan for a rotation based on what has been in the bed previously and what we need to have. And there's a guideline for rotation based on how it's best to manage pests and diseases.
Okay.
And we follow those as well as we can, while also knowing that we have to squeeze a lot into a little space in order to accommodate our market. So we also really try to incorporate cover crop as much as possible. We try to make sure each bed has at least one rotation of cover crop every season. So our typical rotation is looking like greens, roots, fruits, and then legumes is a common rotation. So, we would do kale, then we would do carrots, then we would do tomatoes, then we would do green beans. But not in one season, probably.
Of course, yeah. So every season you do greens. The next season you might do, roots.
Right.
Okay.
And also what I mean by season is sort of in the 2025 season. For instance, this year we might grow kale and then carrots in a bed, and then next year that same bed would then be tomatoes and then probably not green beans, because tomatoes take forever to be established in fruit and such.
Yeah.
But that we would follow that over several seasons of the growing season.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. See, that's the challenge because like we were talking, obviously I try to grow my things. The challenge I have is that I don't have enough space to rotate, and I think that's part of the issues. I mean, I do the string beans, and then the next year I put the tomatoes where the string beans were, and vice versa.
Yeah.
Doesn't always work. But so that's really that's interesting. So in that 1 acre that you have, right? What would you say is the produce that kind of you focus more on because it is best for the production of vegetables?
Sure. Well, I would say probably if you're thinking about percentage-wise of what our space is used on, the largest percentage for one crop would be tomatoes.
Okay.
Because tomatoes are popular, they're delicious, people love them. We're actually going to have a festival that celebrates Charlottesville's tomato harvest and the community around it on August 26th, which is a Tuesday.
Okay.
It's Lampo Pizza, so it's 205 Monticello Road. It's called Tomato Fest, or I guess some people would call it Tomato Fest. But there's an art contest, which submissions are due on Sunday the 10th, this coming Sunday.
Okay.
And there's also a home gardeners contest. So if you grow tomatoes and you want to submit your own tomato to the festival contest, then you would bring it on that Tuesday, and myself and some other farmers will make up a panel of judges to decide which tomato. I think the categories are sort of prettiest, biggest, and tastiest, perhaps. And so that would be really fun to see yours.
Pops, you're going to have to hope for tastiest, because it ain't going to be big, it ain't going to be pretty.
Pretty's not really in the picture right now. Yeah.
Sometimes the ugliest ones are the tastiest. So
No, that's true.
totally
Well, like
here
that,
for
like
it.
the heirloom tomatoes, right? When you see them, they're like, they don't look very nice, but boy, when you cut into them, they are so good.
Yeah. I would say tomatoes, and then certain things we try to have every week that are sort of staple greens for people, like lettuce and arugula. They're just popular. People love to have them in their kitchens.
Yes.
So other things that take up the most growing space, I'd say, for how we rotate things would be lettuce and arugula.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
And things like that, like arugula and lettuce. Do you have to have that covered? Because, I mean, the heat, I would assume they're difficult to...
Yeah, we do. We cover it mostly there's those tiny things called flea beetles that gnaw little holes in the arugula. So we cover the arugula for that reason. And then we sometimes cover lettuce. We try to grow varieties that are specifically heat tolerant.
Okay.
So we spend a little bit extra money on seed in order to have lettuce as many weeks as we can.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. And before kind of the show started, we would talk about the challenges of bugs. How do you kind of deal with sometimes these challenges that come from kind of owning your own kind of produce farm and stuff like that? Because I'm sure there are many.
Yes, there are. It's hard to be a small business owner, period. And then it's hard to be a farmer, period. So sometimes it feels like the two
double
hardest.
whammy.
Yeah, a little bit of a double whammy. But I think as this is our third season, so as we've become just more experienced in the farming side, we've also become more experienced in the business side, and we've just invested in relationships with people who have run their own small farm businesses, and we've consulted with them about how to set up our systems for success. And then we have a really awesome just bookkeeping system, so we can keep track of all of our expenses and such. But the CSA system is really cool because it I think really enables people who are doing small farming, which already has a lot of upfront costs, to prevent debt accumulation. So it's an amazing process, an amazing idea for your community to invest in you for a season, so that a lot of what you have to purchase up front can be subsidized by payments that come before you even have a product, which is amazing. It's been so cool also to collaborate with Lampo. The guys at Lampo have been so supportive and so helpful in allowing us to have that farm stand there, because it can serve as our CSA pickup and also as a super visible, very central, and very accessible way for us to just have extra sales with passerbys. We've been very excited and very grateful for that opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how's the produce season been this year? Because I know Xavier was kind of talking about beforehand some of his challenges. Kind of how's your produce season been?
Great. It's been awesome. It's been really nice. Yeah. I know the rain is hard if you have tomatoes in your yard or stuff that's uncovered. I know it's been very reliably rainy this year, where we are at least, which is ideal for a farmer like myself.
So you would prefer rainier seasons than kind of drought seasons?
Yeah, we're in a really awesome position in terms of we have a flat field with great drainage on top of a hill, kind of.
Okay.
So in wet seasons, we have very little problems with, flooding or saturation. With drought, it's actually really tough to manage. So we love a wet year like this, and we're having an awesome produce season consequentially, but drought is really tough.
Okay.
Don't like the drought. Yeah.
Understood. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's tough because I guess in the drought season you then have to go out and water. Is your acreage set up for like a drip system or anything of that sort? Okay.
Yeah, we have irrigation in place. One of the challenges is that the well that we have it's not an agricultural capacity well.
Okay.
So it's it's domestic, home well. So we have to be very careful about how much we stress the well and how much pressure we put on it, which means that rain is awesome.
Sure.
And just even drip irrigation and overhead and such. Just nothing gets things wet like rain. Like rain just really gets everything really wet.
We've talked about that before. It's
Yeah.
like you can sit there watering the raised bed for like 10 minutes, right?
Yeah.
But you get that nice one rainfall, and the next day you just see like things just go. Phoom.
No, they literally grow.
It's
awesome.
just amazing.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah, water is life. It's very central.
It
It's
really
awesome.
is. It really is.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like so is sun, though, right? I
Yeah,
feel
yeah,
like
yeah,
sun
yeah.
is kind of
Yeah, yeah.
essential. Yeah. I mean, my thought process, and I'm not a farmer at all, but my thought process always is, I feel like you would rather want more sun than more rain because you can't really replicate sun. Well, you could replicate rain, but
Yeah.
I
don't
hear
know.
you. Yeah, I think so. This year for me has been especially ideal because it's this one rain a week that's been like this awesome big, or maybe it's 2 days a week where it's been rainy, but then it's been sunny otherwise. This is the first week so far where I've been a little bummed about the weather because of the consistent cloudiness.
Yeah.
It's not really raining, it's just kind of misty. So stuff like tomatoes tend to slow down, peppers don't ripen as quickly. But yeah, so that's this season thus far, it's been really awesome up until now where it's been like a little weird and wonky. Yeah.
So what's your favorite vegetable or fruit kind of that you grow? Just in terms of like you love growing, and then your favorite one to eat, like what would be? No.
I think cabbage is one of my favorite ones to grow.
Interesting.
It's just rewarding because it's so substantial. In my opinion, it's an awesome, substantial vegetable. I also love to eat it. It's one of my favorites. It's good for you. It's just so good for you, and I think it's so versatile. People can use it for so many things. Also, although we try to grow lettuce all the time, lettuce is not really a crop that's been adapted for our climate, and it's too hot for it all of the time.
Yeah.
So we work really hard to make it work, but cabbage is a great alternative to something a little bit, that's something that people consider a little bit more desirable, like lettuce. I think if everybody had like a cabbage a day, then the doctor would go away, but that's a lot of cabbage. So maybe half a cabbage. But yeah, I think cabbage is probably up there in terms of one of my favorites in both ways. Cucumbers too. I think when I eat the first cucumber of the season, I feel this like awesome sense of relief. It's just like full of water, and it tastes good, and it's also super versatile. So yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah, I feel the same way with actually in my case is like that first zucchini because it's one of the first things that come. But I was interested in the fact that we were talking before about the zucchini bug, and the squash bugs, and also the one that gets into the root. I forget what the name of that
The vine borer.
one. There you are, that one, right? And so every year I get both.
Yeah.
They love me and they love the zucchinis I plant. But I like the fact that you mentioned about the rotation. So maybe you could talk just quickly about things that you do in order to, because it's hard to overcome the bugs. I mean, unless you start really spraying heavily, which we don't, because the whole point is try to go organic for what we do.
Yeah.
But maybe you could tell us a little bit how you do that.
Sure. So yeah, we use a succession system. So we would plant our first succession of squash and zucchini way back in April.
Okay.
And then we usually cover them until they get the blossoms, because that's when you need the bugs to be present for pollination. So we'll cover them with a very light row cover or bug netting. And it's not the cheapest stuff, but it is totally worth it, especially if you want to have a consistent crop and you want to protect it from the bugs. Squash bugs, once they figure out where something is, though, they're going to crawl in there and they're going to get all over it.
Okay.
But in your next successions, we'll do one in April, we'll do one in May, and then we also, at the end of June, planted, or the beginning of July, planted our last succession of squash.
Okay.
And we make sure they're covered. And when the plants start to get really gnarly and die back, we just remove them right away because we don't want disease to spread. And once the plants become, once they're in bad shape, they're just more vulnerable to all of the things that would be worse problems probably than squash bugs, like disease. But it's not a winning game. You just have to, I think in my mind, just have to know squash is a losing game. You can harvest it as much as you can for as long as you can, but then just give up and move on and try to have the next succession ready in time. Because that's probably my least favorite thing to grow.
Mm-hmm.
Squash. Yeah.
And just last, for your land, do you use a lot of compost? Do you like create your own compost?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we do a little bit of both. So we're really lucky to live down the street from a compost maker, just a small local hauling company that has compost available, which is awesome. And then my folks have a couple horses, so we use their manure and our vegetable scraps, and we mix it together and let it sit for a very long time, usually a year or two. We cover it so it gets really hot.
Okay.
And then we'll put it, if we use that compost, we'll usually put it somewhere where we're going to plant a cover crop, and we'll plant a cover crop in it, and then till it all in, and it'll make an awesome new bed. But yeah, we love compost. It's one of the main things we use to build up fertility in our soil.
Okay. And cover crop, you mean when you plant, like, what are those? I should know. All those, what is it, rye or?
Yeah, that would be one. Yeah. There's a whole bunch of different ones, but usually what we're using is mixes of, like, a common one is peas and oats.
There you go. Okay.
That's an awesome one. Rye is great. We love rye, especially to plant in the fall. Clover, sun hemp. There's a bunch of different grasses and legumes and things that are going to do different things for the soil depending on what you have had there and what you're about to plant there.
Okay. And you let them grow to what size? I mean, you don't let them, do you let them seed, grow tall, or you let them grow to a particular and then cut them back? How does that work?
It depends on the type. Usually we're trying to prevent them from going to seed. So buckwheat goes to seed quite quickly. It's a really quick cover crop, which makes it awesome for right now in the middle of the season when we're trying to fit another fall crop in after we've had a spring or summer one. And that's usually 3 or 4 weeks, and it'll get about probably up to here on me. But other ones we really want, especially like peas and oats or stuff that we're growing to really establish as much green and as much carbon as possible.
Okay.
We're trying to get it to be taller than I am. So we've got this really awesome stand of rye right now that's taller than me, which I'm very excited about. And if it's clover, we just want to not be able to see any soil underneath it. So we want it to be really dense. With cover crop, our goal typically is as much as possible, and ideally for as long as possible, just to really help it get established and get deep roots in there and to get as tall and as much mass as possible.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Awesome,
Wow.
Kendall. So before we
Hard
let you
work.
go, where can people find you? Kind of your website and then kind of the farmers markets, the little pop-ups.
Sure.
I know you mentioned Lampo, so.
Yeah. So we are at septembersunproduce.com. There's lots of information there. And then you can find us every Tuesday from 3 to 7 at Lampo Pizza. It's on Monticello Road right by the Avon Bridge. And then we're Saturdays in Orange, downtown Orange on Short Street. It's from 8:30 to 12:30. It's the Orange County Farmers Market. There's a new farmers market also starting at the Jefferson School for African American Heritage over, I'm not sure which street it's on, but it's right across the street from Staples, down in downtown Charlottesville. It'll be every other Sunday starting August 17th from 9:30 to 1:30. And so we're going to start out with that as well in 2 Sundays, so on the 17th of August. You can find us there.
Fantastic.
Awesome, Kendall.
Fantastic.
Well, thank you so much for
Yeah.
coming
Thank you
on.
so
Best
much.
of
Thank you
luck.
all. Thanks
All
so
right.
much.
And I wish you best.
Yeah, with
Yeah,
the
good luck with those
rest
squash
of-
bugs and the tomatoes. I'll see you in a couple weeks with one of your prize-winning
Yeah,
tomatoes.
exactly. Yeah, we'll put in a good word for Xavier. We had it on the show, so. Well, as we kind of transition from one guest to
Absolutely,
the other,
yeah,
that
yeah.
was. I know you learned a lot, probably.
No, I did.
Just,
Well, but so sometimes there's a lot of things you read on the internet, right? And sometimes you wonder, is this good, not good, whatever. So it's nice to talk to somebody who actually does it and has the experience, because you say, all right, so maybe I'm doing this wrong, So
Yeah.
it was wonderful. Yeah, this is what I love about Today Mañana. We get to meet people like Kendall, and now we have 2 other guests that are also going to explain to us what they do. And as always, I'm just awed by what the talent people have and the things that they do.
And the passion that they kind of
Passion,
get
yes,
into,
exactly,
because
yeah.
I know, for sure Kendall looks like she's very passionate about her produce, and we were just talking to Hank and Russ beforehand, and they seem very passionate about the CVille sound check.
Absolutely,
so,
yeah, and I'm curious what all that is.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
So why wait any longer? So we're happy to be joined by Russ and Hank from CVille Soundcheck. Thank you guys for
Morning,
coming on the
guys.
show and
Good
joining
morning.
us.
Shout out to Kendall. I learned so much about our garden,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
like you, our tomatoes are not working this year.
Oh, okay, thank you. I keep
I thought
thinking
it was
it's just me.
Me too.
You guys are commemorating a misery, right? Or something like that.
Yeah, and I love my
Misery loves
tomatoes.
company. Yeah, me too.
I know.
It's like, Yeah, everybody's complaining because like, we try to grow up the whole family, and everybody's like, you know,
Where are they?
Why don't we got tomatoes? Yeah, that's
how
all.
come we don't have
Why don't we
tomatoes?
got
They're all
tomatoes?
yelling at me. I said, well, how about some help?
Yeah, it's
Very
just
cool.
yeah. For some reason, they're just not taking
Yeah.
off. It's strange, but that's why Kendall's the expert and everyone else is the
right.
hobbyist, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You can get her tomatoes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Head to Lampo.
Yeah, exactly. So before we kind of get started, tell us a little bit about yourselves and kind of what inspired you to start CVille Soundcheck.
Yeah, so we started CVille Soundcheck 6 months ago or so
Wow.
to really cover the music scene here in Charlottesville. We have gone to shows for years and very into music, and we were like, why don't we just start kind of sharing the love of what we are blessed with here in Charlottesville as far as music goes. And it also gave us the opportunity to remember all the shows that we went to. Which
Yeah, it was kind of a form of memory care for me because we would go to so many shows and
Yeah.
just some of them you just don't really remember. You're like, what set did they play? And now we remember everything.
yeah.
Yeah.
But it really came from a sense of gratefulness to have the music community that we have in Charlottesville. Just this area in general punches way above its weight in terms of the music scene, the quality of the scene, the creativity of the scene, the cohesiveness of it. And we just wanted, it was really a way to say thank you as much as anything and to feel like we were part of something.
Yeah, what makes Charlottesville such a great music scene? Because like you guys have mentioned, it's like it feels like everywhere there's always somebody kind of playing live
We've
music.
talked about it, and we want to talk to the community more about it. The sense that we have is that there's something magic in the Blue Ridge up there. I mean, if you think about the Blue Ridge from Harrisonburg all the way down southwest to where the Carters are from.
Okay.
The mountain music and sort of the birth of country music, to a certain extent, has taken place in our mountains. And I think it continues to be sort of this just productive ground for creativity.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, having UVA here obviously attracts a certain type of person and artist. We have great venues in this town. There's a bunch of them, not even in town itself, but like in the area.
Yeah.
And like Hank said, there's a lot of local talent, a ton of local talent. But then we also have the opportunity to have bigger national acts come in with Ting, even at the Jefferson, JPJ.
Yeah.
So
Right,
it's great
exactly.
to have the real mix of the big name acts, and then also like this amazing talent that we have here in town.
Yeah, it is pretty amazing for a small town. I mean, Charlottesville, obviously when the university is here, it feels a little bigger, but when the students are here, it feels pretty small, right? But for a small town, the music, the art, what it brings to the table, and obviously UVA is part of it. It is amazing. It really is amazing. I mean, I'm originally from New York, and I tell people in New York, granted the quality may not be exactly the same, but we go to symphonies, we go to the opera, there's the music scene, right? The restaurants. It just seems like for a small town, you have what big cities have without the traffic and the headache and everything else that goes.
It's just a really great place to
it
live,
really is.
I think. And to your point, UVA, they do such a great job of hanging on to people that graduate from there. There's so many people that stay in town, and a lot of those people are musicians. We, cover bands and go see bands where they're actually, it's not what you would think. We're starving artists. They're people that are gainfully employed, have pretty significant careers, but they love music and they're able to play out and enjoy that part of their life as well.
So how do you guys kind of figure out what performance you want to go watch? Because there's so many. I mean, you can't see them all. Like, how do you kind of figure out, okay, I want this Thursday, I want to go see this one. This Friday, I can see that
we
one.
talk amongst each other.
Yeah.
We have similar tastes.
Yeah.
We try to push ourselves out of our comfort spots, but we also have to be authentic to what we know. It wouldn't be right for us to be talking about styles of music while we may support them, but if we're not well versed in it, obviously it's not going to be right for us to be writing about it.
Yeah.
But we just have the locals that we love, and we have, we share some quirks in what we like, and we go by our taste, and we sort of we go to what we want to see. We do a lot of research, so we're not going to see a lot of bands where we're really not sure what we're going to get. And when we started this from the beginning, we're just like, our mamas taught us you don't say anything bad about anybody. So we're just not going to write. If we can't say something nice,
Yeah, well,
we're
exactly.
not going to say anything at all.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But that's never happened. We've never not found joy in performances that we see.
And it's important. It's important. I'm just going to say to be able to go to a particular event that you already know, you have a feel that you're going to like it. That's important because the goal of if you go somewhere where it's like I don't like that kind of music, but let's see. Then you go there, and go. I just kind of
but isn't it good to sometimes open your horizons though? Because if you never experienced
it's
different
true, but I would
music,
still but. Listen, we've talked about this, right? I mean, you're still young, so you're still exploring. But like me, it's like my son. He loves classical music, but he loves like the whole spectrum of classical music. It doesn't, and there are some pieces that's like to me, it's like, I mean, that's just it doesn't fill me, right? So I listen to the classics that I really like, and I listen over and over. And he says, well, why don't you expand? I said, because at this point, right, I've got this much life to live, and to spend 1 hour listening to something's like. I really didn't like that.
You get stingy with your time.
Yeah, you
though.
do. It's like you say,
yeah.
I'd rather go somewhere where I already know I'm going to like it. And granted, I'm not experimenting anymore, and I'm not maybe burning my horizon. But you come to a point sometimes in life where it's like I just know that I'm going to enjoy it, and therefore I want to go there and do that, right? And so I'm not saying that that's what you guys are, but I'm just saying if you're gonna, like you said, if you're gonna write about something, right? Every once in a while, it's like, I think I'll just. I know I enjoy this kind of music. Let me go here and see.
We do push ourselves to get out of our comfort space, and we don't think exactly the same thing. I was raised on sort of, traditional country music. I'm from the southern Midwest.
Okay.
So I grew up on outlaw country and the Carters, the beginnings. And Russ is more sort of, he's younger, obviously, but he's kind of more into the heavier stuff.
Okay.
I grew up in New Jersey.
Oh, New Jersey,
I
okay.
in New York City, right? So like I spent a lot of time on the train going into the city to see bands, and so definitely started. I started more in the 80s with like hair metal, and then it kind of moved into some punk and rock. But it's interesting again, like here in Charlottesville, like Charlottesville is based in like Americana and bluegrass, right?
Yeah.
But I've grown to really love that. Like I met my wife 5 years ago. She's a very big country music fan, and at the time I was not very much into country music in general, right? And it's really opened up my eyes to what country music really is.
Yeah.
Like, you think about country music being one thing, and it's actually giant, right? Like it's like anything else. There's so many different subgenres and artists and everything. So I think going back to your question, like when we try to understand or pick shows that we're going to go to, it's just kind of like, all right, what's out there? Let's check it all out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think since we've started this, even for somebody like me who's gone to a ton of shows over the years, it really opened up the possibilities in town, like the smaller venues or the smaller artists, or like going out to like Batesville Market, for example. That's a place that I had never been to before. And you go out there and you catch a show there, and you're like, wow, this place has some magic in it. And I think that's the thing that we're also trying to share with everybody else. Like, so if we go to a lot of shows and we didn't even know these certain things exist, then, probably many of the population around here also feels the same way or has the same experience.
Because I also noticed in your website you always talk about trying to connect like the performance with the audience and kind of stuff like that, performer with the audience. Kind of what's that like at CVille Soundcheck, where you kind of like trying to give those who are kind of reading your blog like the whole spectrum. Like this is like you took it just based on market, like you said, like the atmosphere or something like that was like really great.
Yeah. So when we started, it started a lot with words, writing, right? That's where our foundation is writing about these bands.
Right.
And so I think being able to kind of tell that story is something we feel that we have some skill at, but then it's also kind of evolved to more than just words. So, we're doing more video and that sort of thing now to really, give a full experience to the fan or our reader or listener or watcher or whatever we're going to call it, to really like understand what that experience was.
I think we believe so much in the scene here and so much in these individual bands and the people in these bands and their creativity that we feel like the best thing we can do for the audience, who's casual all the way to kind of virulent supporters of the scene, is just to provide them with as much information about the bands as possible. And so we're really in service to the bands.
Right.
That's what we kind of, in a weird way, we work for these bands. That's what's on our mind. what's the best thing we can do for them. When Russ spoke to the writing, we try to really push ourselves to capture the essential truth of a performance, not just, when you tend to read what critics do, they either like it or they don't. They tell you the set list, they kind of give you the specifics, and they're in and out in a page. We can go on as long as we want. It's a blog. We write and write, and they're long, and you can read as much of it as you want. But capturing that magic that exists in Batesville Market, or especially in Dirty Nelly's. I've said this before. Dirty Nelly's is the CBGB's of Charlottesville. It's 100%. The core 100% beating heart.
Yeah. And why do you feel that way?
I think it gets back to the mountain.
Okay.
It's kind of where it was the official kind of home meeting place of Nelson County, of Charlottesville, of just sort of the musicians in the area, and it still is. I can't remember the gentleman's name, but thank God he had the foresight to buy Dirty Nelly's when it was kind of maybe going to go out of business or not during COVID. And he kept it pretty much the same, but one thing he did was he brought Coda Curl from Chamomile and Whiskey in to kind of run the book there. And they make it real hard to go other places on some nights. Yeah. Their book is so good.
We end up there, even we'll come downtown to a show, and we usually end up at Dirty Nelly's for late night music, because it's amazing. And also, Dirty Nelly's has magic in it. We keep talking about magic, but bands sound amazing there. There's something about that space, and that just really makes it.
We wrote about it in the last one. Yeah. The last one we just put up, which was Dirty Nelly's birthday party. It was on Monday night, and there were had a great night. Wild Bill and the Bruisers from Nashville were kind of the main act, and they were kind of a honky tonk, hootenanny kind of rockabilly, and they were great. And then Jesse Fisk, whose current band is Jesse's House, and he kind of has a rotating cast come in, and he had Coda play lead guitar with him, and they were just fantastic. And I talked to Coda after the show. It's like I kind of got it down to, it's the ceiling tile. It's that old nasty acoustic ceiling tile. Yeah. It's the rough sawn oak on the walls, and the space between the boards breaks up the sound. And I have that same oak. I have a friend that has a mill down in Nelson, Albemarle County line, where my hunting property is. And so my building is lined with that oak the same way, and it's a metal building, so it should sound awful when you play and record in there, but that oak just does something. So it's in the bricks, it's in the sweat, it's in the blood, it's in the soul that all these musicians and their parents and their grandparents left behind to them. And we just felt very lucky, and that's why we did what we did.
Now, if someone wanted to kind of explore the music scene, what would be? Obviously, Dirty Nelly's is going to be the easy answer at this point, because generally fun. But where the 3 places or the 3 bands that you say, hey, if you want
First thing, start reading our blog regularly all the time.
There you go.
But it'll help you get a sense of what bands maybe you want to see. Another thing that Russ put together recently, and it's just very lunchbox thing on the website, but he's built a spreadsheet that we can import into the site every month that has all the shows in town.
Oh, wow.
Most
Very
of that,
cool.
about 90% of the shows.
Yeah.
There's some brewery and winery stuff that it gets so granular, the list wouldn't be meaningful to have everything. But we do support that.
Yeah.
But you can go to the shows page on our site, first of all, and see who's playing where. But, I would keep an eye on Dirty Nelly's. I would keep an eye on Batesville Market.
Okay.
I would certainly look at the Southern and the Jefferson. I personally like small venues, and so I love those places.
Yeah, Southern is another place that's just, they're chock full of shows right now, and it's just great space. Also sounds great. Yeah. It's the right size. And it's interesting too, because we talked to the bands. And especially here in the city of Charlottesville, there seems to be a progression, from venue to venue. They start off when you first start at maybe Rapture, right, on the small space stage at Rapture, and then the Southern would be your next step. and then the Jeffersons the next step, and then potentially Ting if you get that big, right? So that's kind of the
Got it.
progression of like a band making it. And all those places are amazing, but definitely like Hank's saying, like the Southern, Dirty Nellies, those are kind of our.
You tell us what you like. We'll get your email, and you tell us what you like, and we'll send you a couple shows to go to and help you find something that you want to go see. But the main thing is just you're already in it, right? You love live music, I can tell.
Yeah.
And classical music, I've been to not as much, not nearly as much, but it is overwhelming and beautiful and just such an experience to see that many people doing something that well going in the same direction. And you get the same thing with five musicians on a stage in a band and that work together, that almost live together, that that really are grinding it out.
Yeah.
In this day and age, spending 40 hours, 50 hours a week on your content, do you know what I mean? It's a huge job that they undertake.
The one thing that I have to say is that when you listen to live music, right? First of all, there's nothing like it, right? I mean, even in today's world, I mean, the CDs, or what's that other thing that you just get
Spotify.
streamed? Yeah, Spotify. Yeah, you can stream everything and put into beautiful headsets, and it sounds. But you go live music, there's nothing like it. And second of all, the passion of what you're talking about, I mean, so it's a little different. And you guys, when you have a group of 4 or 3 guys or 2 guys, there's a different passion there. When you go to a symphony, the passion is a little more muted in a sense, right? In the sense that so many musicians, right? But what I really like about, when you go to, live events is that, one, the voices come clear, right? Mm-hmm. The instruments, you just listen to the instruments, especially like, we're talking about symphony, so many instruments. Every once in a while you go, so that's the sound right there. You just you pick it up. Whatever the composer wanted to create, you pick it up. Because sometimes in headset, it's just it's beautiful, but you're not picking up the individual.
And seeing the individuals play the music and
seeing it, it's just you just feel alive. And so what you guys do is, I think it's just awesome to be able to go to a website, right? And I can see by the way you speak, you're writing. I haven't been able, I haven't gone there, so I don't know. But your writing must be awesome. So to be able to read what you guys write about a particular band, I mean, that has to be fantastic because, it's like, wow, that's the kind of band I want to go see. So then it's like, okay, where are they playing?
It's just nice to have a place in CVille Soundcheck that it's like, let's be honest, there's so many live shows, even sometimes I get overwhelmed. It's like, where do you want to go? You're like, oh my gosh, there's one here, then there's one here. To just have a place where it's like, I could kind of get a general feel, just listening or reading whatever Hank and Russ kind of wrote about. Okay, these are some of those bands. Okay, here's some of the venues, and now I could kind of a little easier to now pick and choose where exactly I want to spend my Thursday, Friday, or Saturday nights, or a weeknight.
Yeah, and especially when you have that spreadsheet. I mean, it's like
I think it's going to help a lot of people kind of map out. Depending on how many shows maybe you go to 2 or 3 shows a year, maybe you do 10 shows a year. Just however you want to plan your show going thing is. And it's iterative. We add to it as it goes along because some places like Dirty Nellies or like Superfly on Preston is doing music now. They may not put out, and it's awesome, it's like finding an Easter egg. They may not put out something until a couple, 3 days before it's going to happen. Yeah. So you got to stay on top of it. And it's, I think it gets back to anything we can do to help the bands and sort of push and elevate, is what we want to do.
That's amazing. I take my hat off to you guys. I mean, you came up with an idea that I think is fabulous. It really is. I mean, like I said, both for the bands, because it really helps them, right, in the sense of people now learn a little bit more about these particular bands through your writing, and to the people that go listen. I mean, it's to be able to go to a website and say, wow, this is exactly what I like. These guys just captured how I feel about a particular band. You don't have to just go around and say,
let's
I'm
be
hoping
honest
this
too, right?
is good.
A lot of these bands too, like, you could tell me the name of a band, I wouldn't have no idea what their music even sounds like. At least now I can go see what sounds. It could be like, oh, okay, this is kind of what.
Yeah, you can get a good idea. Sort of. And like I said, hit us up. We'll tell you what we got this month that we think you'll like if you give us a little bit of shade on it. But honestly, to see something that happened, we saw it both this morning. It just fills our heart. There's a a band that's been around for a while in Charlottesville called Lord Nelson, that we love. They kind of had been out touring for a couple of years. And then we found out that their frontman, Kai Crow-Getty, was making a solo album and had been working on it for a while. So he kind of went off to do that, and the rest of the band went off to do a metal project that they've been doing. And you talk about that, and I'll talk about Kai. Let me just finish on Kai, and then you do Ooga Booga. But Kai made a fantastic record. I mean, a record that knocked the wind out of us when we saw the release party, which he had Jenna Matthews, who's also from Charlottesville, but she lives in Nashville now. She kicked the night off. She's a fantastic singer-songwriter. Then one of our favorites, I call her one of my adopted grandbabies, was Rebecca Porter, who's a honky-tonker, a Pacific Islander. She's from the Valley. She's fantastic. Her stuff, everything she does just looks perfect for what she does. She went off second, and then Kai played, and we had been listening to the record a lot and really believed in it, and it's held up. I've been listening to it a lot since. This was, 6 weeks ago, a month ago?
Probably, yeah.
This morning, we got up to find out that Goldmine magazine just loved the record and gave Kai a really great review. And, we're not in the business of that. That's not what
exactly.
we do.
No, of
we're
course.
not critics, and we don't try to maintain that. Well, we don't like some things. We do like other things, so you can trust our criticness, because we're pretty in favor of. But to wake up this morning and see the community in general and one of our favorite sons specifically to really earn those kind of props just makes it all worth it. And then you can talk to the other side of the band now.
Yeah. So the guitarist and the bassist from Lord Nelson joined up with the drummer, and they did a metal band called Ooga Booga, who we saw, I guess, 2 weeks ago at the Southern, and it was an amazing show, right? So you could see these bands where Lord Nelson is not a metal band, they're more of like a party,
Nelson County,
right?
Southern rock, Americana.
Yeah, and then you go see Ooga Booga, who's they call themselves like a rock metal band, different style, but they just blew the roof off the place, So it's just so fun to be able to see these different artists do different things in different ways. And speaking of both of those bands, Lord Nelson and Ooga Booga, there is a music festival in Charlottesville in September. It's a Charlottesville-based music festival. It's called Wreckfest. It's over at the Ix Park, September 19th and 20th.
Is it 20th and 21st or 19th and 20th?
Yeah.
It's that weekend.
Got it.
Yeah. Saturday,
Either somewhere
between
between the
19th
19th
and
and 21st.
Yeah, Saturday and Sunday. And all the bands there, I think there's 17 different bands and artists.
Wow.
And they're all from Charlottesville. They're all Charlottesville-based bands. Ryan from
Disco
Risque is kind of running the whole thing. So Disco Risque, another Charlottesville-based band, obviously will be playing both Saturday and Sunday night as kind of the headliner. Lord Nelson will be there, Ooga Booga will be there, a whole bunch of
Get your tickets now, because honestly, it's going to be a riot. It's incredibly affordable, so it's very inclusive. It's not, if you think of some of these festivals out in the country, have gotten really expensive. I mean, Russ and I were looking at, maybe we should cover Floyd Fest or something. Yeah. And we probably will next year, but to get that ticket, the full weekend pass with the parking or the camping pass and the whole thing, it's a chunk of change. Yeah. And this is, I think you can get a whole weekend pass for $50, I think. $50, including the after hours show.
Right.
Yeah.
And you're going to want to do the after hours thing, take a nap that afternoon, you and I. And
then you don't have to go back to your tent, in a campsite. You can go back to your house and sleep in your bed.
Right, exactly. Yeah, absolutely.
So even better.
Yeah.
Good one, Russ. Good get.
No, but that's a great thing about Charlottesville, what you mentioned too. I mean, first of all, the ticketed events aren't that pricey compared to whatever you find out. So, no, they also do a lot of events where it's it's actually free. At the venue, you just gotta go there. You have a beer. The music's free.
Yeah.
You don't have to
always remember to tip the artist when it's free.
Yeah.
It kind of gets past you sometime. Even when we're sitting there shooting it and kind of working, we'll forget. Yeah. But they're working so hard and they're selling merch and they're playing. If you look at somebody like Kendall Street Company, who really is good at the pound and ground, ground and pound or whatever you want to call it, the social media. They play everywhere in every iteration, as a full band, as two, as one of them, whatever. But they are working so hard. So if you drop a 5 or a 10 or a 20, if you really felt great about the show, man, that goes a long way. I mean, if you take just buying gas to get the equipment so they can load in and load out, you know.
Yeah, I appreciate that. That's a good tip. Yeah.
So before we let you guys go, where can people find you? The website, kind of Instagrams, Facebooks, all that stuff.
Yeah, so our website is CVilleSoundcheck.com. So that's where you can go read the blog, check out the show's page, see a handsome picture of Hank. We're also on Instagram and
There'll be
Facebook.
a rush now.
He jests.
Instagram and Facebook, both CVille Soundcheck. So follow us there. And
Instagram is kind of, sort of, that's our megaphone.
Yeah.
That's where the bands are, so that's where we are.
Yeah, that's the big one.
Yeah, so that's kind of where you'll see us
Awesome.
talk the most.
Russ, Hank, thank you both so
Yeah,
much.
thank
Thank
so
you
much.
guys.
Wow.
Thank
I
you
mean,
guys.
this is
And it's great to
amazing.
talk
Yeah.
to music fans and gardening fans.
We have a lot of likes. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
so listen. The most important thing is we enjoy doing this mostly because of people like you, right?
Yeah.
In other words, like I said, when I see what people do, and today because of technology, between podcasts and blogs, etc., and the passion you guys bring to this, I mean that's what I love, because you can just see it, and it's helpful. Again, it's helpful to the bands, and it's helpful just to the people that want to listen, and I mean anything that you can help the community to enjoy what Charlottesville has, I think it's fantastic. So thank you guys. I mean,
Thanks,
that's
guys.
amazing.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate it. Yep.
Yeah. Wow, that's amazing. Really, I mean, it's because as you know, I don't do any research. I come here and I just kind of
Exactly.
wing it, as they always say.
Yeah.
So CVille Soundcheck, I said
CVille.
CVille.
Seville. Seville's in Spain.
CVille. Well, that's why I like CVille Soundcheck. I would have said, what is exactly do they do? And so to learn what they do, and like I said, you can just see the passion in their voice, and in what they do is fantastic.
No,
So-
and we always love when we have guests who come
Yeah.
and help out the community, because that's
Yes.
what it's all about.
Yeah. And this was perfect. I mean, you have one that likes to feed people, and the other one likes to, the spirit. Thank you,
Exactly.
guys.
Thank you.
So it was. I think it was a great show. I enjoyed it very, very much.
I
Yeah.
enjoyed it, and I enjoyed being here with you.
Well,
as
same
always,
thing.
you know?
Yeah, same thing here.
It's always great to have you on the show. As always, a big thank you to our sponsor, Emergent Financial Services, and our leading sponsor, Emergent Financial Services, sponsors Matisse Young Realty, Charlottesville Opera, FABA. Always big thank you to the I Love CVille studio for having us.
And one more thing, because I forgot to begin. Don't forget to like and share.
And subscribe.
And subscribe.
Yep.
There you are.
And then a big thank you for Judah behind the camera,
Always,
dealing with all the
always.
guests, taking photos, trying to make Xavier and me look the best we can. It's a tough gig, but hopefully
Someday he's gonna have the ability to change how we look.
AI, go to AI, say
says,
make Xavier Michael
Xavier-
handsome.
Yeah, handsome. It's like, man,
Then
these
they'll make
guys
us
for
look
today
like,
and
they'll make
mañana.
us look
Holy
like
God.
Henry Cavill. Hey, that's me.
And then you meet somebody, who are you? You're the one for today.
Yeah, that's the new thing about it. It's like, on like dating apps and stuff like that. It's like the photo never looks like actually the person.
Exactly, yeah. It's like,
But anyway, they'll be like us. They're like, hey, I saw your photo on the show, but you don't look like
look
that.
like-
Really? No, I think I kind of look like that. You should. It's my build. Yeah. But as always, thank you to our audience members watching. Again, unfortunately, with Xavier and me are not very technologically savvy, so.
well,
thank
that's
you.
not true. You are. You just don't.
I don't have a Facebook or Instagram.
No, I know that's what
you
it is,
do,
yeah.
though. I mean, you tend to
Yeah,
have
that
a
doesn't mean
Facebook.
anything,
That
yeah.
doesn't mean anything. You just don't know how to use it.
Yeah. Exactly.
But thank you, as always, to all our viewers and those who commented and liked the show. Thank you to, and to everybody and our two fantastic guests. We look forward to seeing you next time. But until then, hasta mañana.